Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded NHL Ranking Show. I'm your host, Eric. Main man right there, Ron. How are you?
Doing okay.
All right. So
Looking
as we
forward
normally
to
do,
this.
ah, nice, exciting week in hockey. Getting some games in finally. So that's
Yeah,
always a
some
plus.
teams haven't played much.
Yeah. And you'll see that with this list as well. Um, But we normally come out with our list on a Monday, and then we do a show just to kind of talk about how we got to those rankings, how you got to those rankings,
Yep.
and where we're probably heading in the near future. So we'll start off right at number 5, who's
All
a
right.
team that wasn't in last week.
No, it had dropped out last week, I believe, or the week before. Pittsburgh Penguins playing some good hockey.
Yeah, 31, 11, and 8, 6, 1, and 3 in their last 10. Only 2 games in the next 7 days at Toronto, and then a big game against Carolina at home.
Yeah, so they got a tough schedule ahead with those two games, both obviously contenders. They did go 3-0 this past week, beating Toronto. Not beating Toronto, beating Boston, Ottawa, and New Jersey. Um, Boston played. I think Boston actually outplayed Pittsburgh that game. Just opportunistic, and Pittsburgh can score, so it can come in a flash. And Heinen got them for 2 goals. Their former player got Boston for 2 goals and brought them to that big win over Boston.
And
So
again, Pittsburgh's one of those teams that, again, has the capability to be a contender, but just seems to at times look like, they falter a little bit and then they come back
yeah,
and they bounce back. And I know you were really high on them a few weeks ago. So
yeah,
them getting back in the top 5 shows that they're playing good hockey again.
yeah. The return of Malkin again. That because he was out a couple of games for COVID reasons, I believe, and you know he's such a talented player. And when you can put Malkin and Crosby on the same power play, you're talking two of the better scorers in the league that can do a lot of damage. And combined, that's a tough ask for any penalty killing unit. That's tough.
So at number 4, you had
Tampa Bay, they slipped a spot. Um, they lost to Colorado last week. I mean, everybody's losing to Colorado
yeah,
lately.
yeah.
Um, so they dropped one spot. They could have actually, stayed there. It is Colorado, the top team last week.
Yeah.
So, um, but there's only so many places where you can get to fall,
Yeah.
and if you lose a game, you're most likely gonna lose ground on somebody.
Yeah. So 32, 11, and 6 overall in the season, 7, 2, and 1 in their last 10. Only have one game in the next 7 days, and it's actually next Wednesday against Edmonton at home.
Right. So they did beat New Jersey yesterday. Um, so that was it. So they're not gonna fall. They did win their one game this week, but again, it's only one game, and it wasn't against a
A
contender.
quality
Like,
team. Yeah.
yeah, no, New
Yeah.
Jersey's not very good.
So again, 2-time defending champions.
Yep.
Some concern at times that, again, there's been some teams that stayed ahead of them on this list,
Yeah.
that maybe this is not a three-peat season for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Well, they're probably going to bulk up, but how much do they have the capabilities of trading? They've done a lot of trading in the last couple of years to get to where they are. And, it's every year that you have to do it, it makes it more difficult because you have to give up more and
Yeah,
more
the following year.
every
Yeah.
year.
So
Then you don't have much as far as depth in the minors.
So, and again, obviously, you are my hockey guru, my man of knowledge when it comes to the NHL. I would ask you this: can the Tampa Bay Lightning turn it on during the playoffs? Like we've heard that expression in the past that teams just kind of coast through the regular season and then turn it on in the playoffs. Do you feel like the Tampa Bay Lightning could be one of those teams?
Oh, absolutely. As long as you have Vasilevsky in net, you can coast through the year because, and if this is coasting for a team, I'd hate to see what happens in the playoffs. I
Yeah,
mean, you got the best goaltender. You have the best goaltender. That I don't think is a question. And when you have that,
yeah.
you got a chance to win the cup.
And we know goaltending is probably the most key piece element when it comes to Stanley
Right.
Cups and winning a Stanley Cup. So, yep, them having the best goaltender currently uh,
That helps.
is obviously crucial. And we're going to do our top five, Ron's top five MVPs coming up soon. Will Valesky be in there? Vasilevsky, right?
Vasilevsky.
Will he be in there? That's going to be the question. Stay tuned for that.
I won't reveal until we do that later.
Let's go to number 3.
Number 3, Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
Look, it's they had a rough week. 1, 2, and 1. Overtime loss. They lost to Toronto and Ottawa. You can't lose to Ottawa.
Yeah.
You can't. You got to beat those teams, especially when you're jockeying for position. I mean, you got 4 teams that are capable of winning that division, and you can't lose those games to Ottawa.
Game.
So
So Carolina 32-11-3 overall, 6-3-1 in their last 10. Now the next 3 teams all have 4 games in the next week. Carolina's home for Florida, home for Nashville, at Pittsburgh, at Philadelphia. So 3 very difficult games. Philadelphia again up and down this season. So you don't know.
Yeah, they got a lot of talent in Philadelphia. They just
so
I don't
4
know
very
what their
tough
problem
games in the
is this
next
year.
week.
Yeah, they have a tough schedule ahead of them. So if they had a rough week last week and they have another one, you could see some teams pushing their way in. That aren't in that top 5. I don't think Carolina is it's gonna hurt Carolina in the long run.
Yeah,
but it could be a difficult couple of weeks here for them.
yeah, and again, it's just a disadvantage to some of the other teams that aren't playing.
Right.
And you've got 4 games in the next week. You really got to start to wonder where the scheduling was going. We've talked about it in the past with the NHL. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
to me.
the Bruins are going through the same thing. They have to keep playing so many games.
And then other teams aren't playing any games. It's just so strange.
And when the Bruins have like a stretch of 12 road games in 13 games, their only home game, in this stretch is Colorado.
Lucky them, huh?
So feel bad if you're the Bruins.
That's kind of crazy. That's
terrible.
So at number 2?
Number 2, Florida Panthers.
Florida Panthers, again, we just talked about will play Carolina.
Didn't play a game, so...
Yeah. 32-10-5, 7-3 in their last 10. But the next week, they've got 4 straight. They got at Carolina, at Minnesota, at Chicago, and then home against Nashville. So that's very similar to what Carolina is going to go through. There's a very tough stretch here.
Exactly.
And again, we're talking about some of the top teams in the league. Minnesota was in our top 5 last week. So again, a very quality team. Yeah,
they're a good team. I currently have them as the 6th best team. But it's like Florida has a tough stretch, and it's going to be very difficult to get through that without a loss. So again, you're looking at Florida and Carolina that are probably going to get at least 1 loss in this next week, and whether it's more than 1 depends on where they're going to be if they're staying in that top 5, because you got some teams pushing hard.
Yeah, and again, we'll discuss some of the teams that were left out in a little bit, but there's obviously, definitely possible movement next week.
Oh, yeah.
With the top 5.
I'm actually expecting it.
Yeah, very, very tough stretch here for the Panthers. So to me, it's, like you said, I could see them losing a split in these 4 games.
Exactly. That could happen, and
But
most likely will.
yeah, so the number one team
Number one team
staying
still
staying put.
Colorado Avalanche.
Colorado,
I,
34, 9-4, 8, 1-1 in their last 10. But again, another team, 4 games in the next week at Vegas, at Buffalo,
yes.
at Boston, at Detroit. One
Yes.
of those games obviously would be very interesting. Vegas. Again, what Boston Bruins team will be on the ice will be key.
And they did lose to Dallas last night.
Wow. Okay.
So they're already starting the week 0-1. So they could possibly not be number one next week. You know, they have a tough schedule. And, you know, like they almost lost to Boston when Boston went to Colorado.
yeah,
So, you know, that's not going to be a cakewalk. And especially with Bergeron going to be back.
expected back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Expected back, but he should be back either tomorrow or Saturday.
So we're going to discuss this on Friday, but let me ask you this question right now. Are you concerned that Patrice Bergeron may retire based on his situation of the head
Well,
injury?
they're calling it a laceration. I'm not sure it was a laceration. You know how teams are. They don't like to
Yeah.
disclose anything, especially New England teams. They learn from Belichick. So I'm not so sure it was a laceration. I'll say that. And yes, I am concerned because a head injury is a head injury. And that gets to thinking. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And it would be devastating if they lose him to retirement at the end of the season. And it could happen.
So let me ask you this: Colorado, tough stretch here. Do we expect them to still remain in first place, or will they finally be knocked out after they've been there for quite some time now?
Yeah, and Tampa Bay, they won their only game this week, so they're starting out 1-0. So if the 3 teams ahead of them take 2-3 losses, Tampa Bay find themselves right on the top just by playing New Jersey. I mean, that could happen. I mean, these teams have to handle their business, and it's tough when you're playing other teams in that top 5, 6, 7 in the league. You can't say that they're gonna win. Being the top team, it's just not gonna they could lose to anybody. Anybody can win in the NHL.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at the list real quick and what we came up with from last week. So at number 5, Pittsburgh Penguins get back into the top 5. At number 4, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes. At number 2, we had the Florida Panthers. And at number 1, the Colorado Avalanche. These lists get released every Monday on our website. So at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, on TikTok, on TSmooth73, on Instagram at Sports _Unfolded. So many different ways to view this list. Let us know what you think. If you like them, you don't like them. You could give us your own list and let us know how close your list is to our list. But we're really excited about doing this each week. We do an NBA as well, and NFL. Obviously, the season's over at this point. And then if Major League Baseball decides to get back on the field, we'll have a Major League Baseball top 5 as well. So really excited about doing these lists and really fun to do. But we had a little challenge for you this week from last week. And
do you want to do
the teams that are out?
Teams that are out.
That's right. So right now, I currently have Minnesota, the New York Rangers, and the Toronto Maple Leafs would be the 3 teams that I feel have an opportunity to be in the next week.
You know who's probably going to be in there?
What do you got?
It isn't going to be one of those teams.
Really? Okay.
Look for the Calgary Flames.
Calgary Flames?
Look, they're on a 7-game winning streak right now.
Okay.
Okay, they just traded for Toffoli with Montreal. They gave up Pitlick, Heineman, a first-round pick this year, and a 5th-round pick next year to get Toffoli. That is a huge pickup for them. So they draw first blood in the trade deadline moves. That still has a ways to go for it, but
Yeah.
they drew first blood. They wanted to kick it in and see what they can do early, and I think that was a smart move because then if you still need more adjustments to your team, you
You
have
still have
plenty of time.
Yeah.
And that's a big pickup because Toffoli is was basically being wasted in Montreal. But you can put him on a line, with Goudreau. They're going to be very well taken care of. Calgary just put themselves in the picture.
Okay, I
They
like it.
probably are now the second best team in that conference, in the Western Conference. Still don't think it's enough to,
Get them into the top 5.
They could be.
They get
They
in the
could
top
be.
5, but not enough to win it.
Not enough to win the cup because they have to get through Colorado to do it, and that's not enough. That's not gonna do it. So, but that gets people talking now because they're the better team in that division. They're gonna probably take that division. They've got games in hand, and they're set up now. They're
I
set
like
up.
it. I like it. I still think Minnesota or the Rangers get in next week. That's my 2. Just hold it out there. We'll see.
I'm not
We'll see
saying
how
that
we
they
do.
can't, but that's
No, I like
going to
that
be tough.
7 straight for Calgary. That's
Yeah.
right. They're on a hot streak, which is good.
And Calgary, who just beat Columbus last night, they have Anaheim and Seattle on their schedule for the rest of the week.
Gotcha.
So that could actually get up to 9-game winning streak.
All right. We'll have to see how that pans out.
Anaheim is probably the team that could derail it, but I don't think they're good enough.
All right. All right. I love it. I love it. So as we were saying earlier, Ron's top 5 MVPs currently in the NHL. If the season ended today, Ron, this would be your MVPs and how they would finish from 5 to 1. And if you want to give a brief synopsis on each one, of why you put them where you put them.
All right. So number 5, I have Johnny Gaudreau. Calgary Flames. Look, he's carried the team. He's carried the team. And I believe he's got like 55 points, if I'm not mistaken. So look, he's got speed. He's got the defensive capabilities. He obviously can score. I mean, when you get 55 points, no, actually, it's 60 points. I'm sorry, 60 points as I look. Look, what can you say? You're talking about a guy that's currently, 7th in the league in scoring, 6th in scoring.
Well,
I mean, he's done it all for the team. He's done it all for the team. So Johnny Gaudreau for Calgary, and he's going to get help with Toffoli. That's going to put, even if he's not on his line, it's going to make it so that way, it puts some pressure off of him and gets more ability and toughness because Toffoli is a big guy and he's a power forward, and that's going to spread out the defensive capabilities of other teams because now they're going to have a second line that's going to be able to score as well. So the depth over there is just improved, and Johnny Gaudreau should be one of the finalists.
Love it. Love it. At number 4, who do you got, my friend?
Number 4, I have Rantanen of Colorado. Look, he has help over there, and Kadri has gotten a lot of points this year. He has had an amazing season. He's not going to get MVP votes, I don't think. I think his past will bite him in the behind on that. But he's had a great year. And I put Rantanen 4th because I don't think he's going to win it because there's two guys there doing it, and they've been without McKinnon for a lot of the season, so. They look at that Colorado team, and there's a lot of people that do it. It's Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen, by the way, is the one that I was thinking of with 55 points. So, that is amazing. And Kadri, his teammate, has 62 points. So, you're talking about a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
So the fact that Kadri is there is going to take votes away from Rantanen. And it makes sense. But he will get his share of votes for MVP, I'm sure. And as will Goudreau, but I don't think they will win it. But they are, my finalists where they will get some votes.
Love it.
That leaves the top three.
Top three. This is the big three here.
The big three, and one of these guys will win MVP. And one of those guys is not Draisaitl, and one of those guys is not McDavid.
Wow. That is
because they might not even make the playoffs, and right now that means everything. It means everything. So number 3, I have Kreider, who has had such a great season. Leading the league in power play goals with 17 power play goals. That is incredible. But he's got, I believe, 33 goals on the season for Chris Kreider, who has come into his own. He's already got 33. His previous season high was 28. So he's on a pace to possibly get 50. And he might break the Rangers' record of 54, which I believe was held by Jaromir Jagr.
Oh.
So
if he trivia here.
Yeah, no, he's got a chance of breaking the Rangers' record for goals in a season. And they've only had a couple of 50-goal scorers in the history. I believe 3 times they've done it. Well, I believe Mark Messier has done it. I can't recall the other one, but I know it's a big name. It might be Esposito. Could be. I can't recall. But I believe there's 3 times 50 goal scorers in Ranger history. He's probably going to be the 4th, and he could break the record for the Rangers, which is amazing because I believe he's like 30 years old right now, and they don't usually blossom this late in the career.
Yeah, 30's the new 20 now.
Yeah, I guess so. So Chris Kreider is my 3rd on the list.
Excellent.
Number 2, Aho from Carolina.
Yes.
Yep, Aho is number 2. But Sebastian Aho is having an amazing season. He's not in the top goal scorer. It's just he's just got an all-around great game this year, and I think he's going to get a lot of votes for somebody that's not even in top 10 in scoring. I'm predicting him to finish 2nd in MVP voting.
Gotcha.
So that's saying something. It's almost like, yeah, he's got that that Patrice Bergeron kind of effect where he's very highly regarded around the league, and every time you go play Carolina, the first name that comes on your list is Aho. So don't be surprised to see him in that voting. And that leaves the number 1 guy. Leads the league in assists. And what is he right now? 3rd in the league in points, behind Draisaitl and McDavid by only 2 points, mind you. He's only 2 points behind. And that is, of course, Huberdeau of Florida.
Huberdeau. So if the season ended today, Huberdeau is your MVP.
Huberdeau would be my MVP.
Outstanding. Yep. Outstanding. So I did do this service.
He's a great player.
I did you a disservice, and I've not brought this up during the hockey show at any point in time. So I'm going to try to do this right now and see if I can do this correctly. But I am going to share Ron's all Ron team that he came up with.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while now,
Yep.
but these were obviously how you had some of your players.
Yeah, at the beginning of January.
Right. So we did a mid-season all Ron team. This was a Ron's all Ron team, and as you could see, we definitely a lot of the guys you mentioned, Aho's there, right? Goudreau.
Yep.
So definitely these guys you've already kind of, and if they're still going today, if we're looking at it. So
yeah, I'm looking at the list, and I like that list a lot.
Right. So well, obviously at the end of the year, you'll do another all Ron team season finale. That'll be your picks. I noticed you didn't have a goaltender in there.
No.
So no goaltender for MVP.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Is this similar to like your baseball rule? You don't like this that they have a
Cy Young. Yeah, you get the Cy Young. Yeah, it's kind of like that. But it's kind of like that in every league now.
Yeah.
You know, when you're talking about scoring leaders, they play in every day, and an everyday player should get MVP unless it's just so ridiculous. Like if you're putting up, like in baseball, if you put up like a 1.3 ERA, I mean,
20 wins plus, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But hence what we talked about with the NFL when we said about the offensive rookie of the year and rookie of the year, like they should probably be two separate awards. But no, I understand it. I understand. I get what you're coming from. Ron, as always, your hockey knowledge impeccable. You are
pretty much
the hockey guru, my hockey guy. I would go in any hockey trivia contest any day of the week with you, my friend.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but I fold under pressure.
Uh-oh.
When it comes to doing a trivia thing, like I'd panic on like Jeopardy or something like that.
So next week's challenge,
I'm gonna write it down.
We're gonna go a little historical next week. I'd like your top 5 all-time Stanley Cup matchups. So what were your top 5 Stanley Cup matchups of all time? The teams you liked seeing the best, which Stanley Cup finals you thought were the best? From 5 to 1, you'll rank them. I'm sure there's going to be a Boston Bruin one in there.
No.
No bias at all. No bias.
No, they'll all be Boston.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
No. Have they been in 5 cups?
All right, my friend. So once again, if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out on our normally ranked show, sports show, and that would be Sports Unfolded that airs every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Rhode Island Broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. You can follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_ on Instagram, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and Amazon for podcasts if you want to listen to us instead of just watching us. I mean, we are two very handsome gentlemen, but I'm sure there's some people out there that may not want to see these faces. So listen to us. I mean, our voices aren't bad, I would think. But so every week we do our weekly show. We have a lot going on every week. Obviously, we'll be discussing this Friday the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl outcome. We haven't come up with our pick and rolls or face-offs yet, so I'm really excited to see what
Don't forget that curling top 5.
Curling top 5. We will obviously discuss the Olympics as well, some NBA action, and talk about the red-hot Boston Celtics.
Oh, my Lord.
So, but 9 straight now there as well. So we've got a lot to cover on Friday. Check us out, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are live. We're fan interactive. If you chime in, we'll respond back. We've gotten some great responses. And check us out for our predictions, which we will be tied again after this week.
Jesus.
We are tied again this week. So our predictions, we do a weekly prediction. And if you'd like to get involved in that as well, we'll put you right up on that chart and compete against me and Ron.
Are we both at 70% though?
63, I believe it is.
Oh, so we had a really bad week.
Yeah, we had another bad week.
Damn.
But, hey, it's only got to turn around. That's the way I look at it.
It's because I gotta I gotta remember not to.
We
To
went with our
pick
heart,
with my heart.
and we did it with the Providence Friars. We both lost that, and I wanted to go
Oh,
Nova, but I said I couldn't pick against the Friars, PC.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
So tough one. Maybe I'll throw a lot of Boston Bruin ones in.
No.
I know you'll go with your heart. Yes.
No. You gotta
All right,
stay
my
away
friend.
from the home teams.
Yes, exactly. So I'll see you on Friday night. As always, thank you for all your hockey knowledge,
Absolutely.
and we'll see you on Friday.
All right. Take care.